What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick, Tayler Kyles here for CLNS Media outside of Gillette Stadium on the practice fields as the Patriots just wrapped up day 10 of their 2024 training camp. A reminder, we are powered by Game Time and Prize Picks. Head over to Game Time, use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase, and head over to Prize Picks and use code CLNS for a $100 deposit match bonus. Terms apply on both. So let's talk about the defense because they dominated today. But first, we can't talk about the defense without talking about Matthew Judon. A little bit of an update, I guess, in the Matthew Judon saga. Not really, same old, same old. He comes out here in full pads, participates in practice, but doesn't come up again through his normal entryway, comes through the back, doesn't sign autographs with fans. And then we also spoke to Matthew Judon after practice, who originally brought Jelani Tavai to the podium with him.
It's like an anger translator from a Key and Peele sketch.
Right. It was kind of making fun of the fact that we all wanted to talk to Judon, and he didn't want to answer, so he gave him a little whisper, said next question. But then, you know, our Lord and Savior on the beat, Mike Reese, says, but in all serious here, what's going on with your contract? And then all of a sudden it got real, and Jelani Tavai left. And, you know, Judon didn't really give us much. He said that we have to talk to the front office. Said that, you know, he came out here last Monday and wasn't going to participate. Had a little bit of a discussion with Gerard Mayo. Didn't want to be a distraction, so he left. And then he said he got some sort of update.
Yeah, there was a message he said he got, and that was the reason he came back onto the field and spoke to Elliot Wolf and Matt Groh, which, to be fair, was one of my biggest sticking points. And what I didn't like about the day was the fact that he came back onto the field in like even more casual clothes than he had. So that changes a little bit of it, you know. And he also apologized for being so animated. He's like, I'm sorry, I use my hands when I speak. So, you know,
it's one of those. He also kind of tongue in cheek was like, I'm just gonna have to talk with my hands by my side all day.
Yeah.
It was strange.
And that, I think, set the tone for what this whole availability was for Matt Judon. Just like with the last time we spoke to him, where he was in completely different spirits, obviously still wanted a new deal, but it felt like Matthew Judon. He was lighthearted, he was jokey. Today continued the theme of what I've been saying, where I feel like he's not really being himself because he's coming in through the back way. He's not playing catch with fans. The energy hasn't quite been there. It was a little better in the last practice that we saw on Saturday, but still not really Judon. And at the podium, you could feel that the energy was very different. He wasn't looking at us. He was looking down a lot. Not a whole lot of energy. Felt like he didn't really want to be there, which I understand. If I were in his position, I wouldn't want to be having to stand in front of the media with every single reporter talking to me. But if we're being honest and we're trying to read the tea leaves here, it doesn't feel like Judon is 100% on board with being on the team. He said if it were up to him, he still wants to retire a Patriot. That's, you know, he was asked about whether he wants more deals. He's like, or years on his deal. He was like, yeah, if I want to retire here, I would need more years on the deal. Also mentioned, you know, he said he sent the team a deal. It was in his notes app, but he didn't remember. You know, there was some drier humor from Matthew Judon, but at the end of the day, I think, especially with all these reports about Brandon Ayuk, and now something's not going to get done with San Francisco. Could something get done there? I feel like that's a deal that makes sense for both sides because Judon just does not seem happy with his current situation, and I don't know how you could have stood in front of him and listened to what he said and been like, oh no, these sides are getting closer to a deal. There was, at least Godshaw, you could feel that there was some progress and he was a little less upset even though he didn't get the deal he wanted. With Judon, it felt like, whoa, this is in a not great place, even though he's here participating and doing what he was supposed to.
For sure. Definitely a stalemate right now in the Matthew Judon contract situation, but he's out here, he's participating, and he adds to a dominant defensive day on day 10. The offense really could not do anything. We couldn't evaluate the quarterbacks. We really couldn't evaluate much. The run game was stuffed pretty much all the time. If you look around at all the beat reporters' notes, it's like run stuff, run stuff, run stuff. The offensive line, missing pieces, missing parts, could not get anything done. What stood out from you on the defensive side of the ball today for the Patriots?
Yeah, I mean, even when the Patriots it felt like every group had like one positive carry and the rest were stuffs. But on those positive carries, you would hear a thud. Where, again, this was a live tackling day. There was a lot more physicality. So sometimes backs would have to just keep their legs turning and then they would find daylight, as opposed to the first couple of days of padded practices where you were seeing holes and these guys were getting through and they were breaking off these huge runs. Felt much more difficult for the run game in every single phase, which has to do with the fact that you have offensive line issues with the tackle depth a little shaky. Chooks wasn't playing. Calvin Anderson is starting, but he's got a wrap on his left foot. And this was the best run defense in the NFL last season, so a lot of that's to be expected. And in terms of the pass rush, like you mentioned, the Patriots didn't have a whole lot of comfort when they were back there in the pocket. It was hard to know where it was coming from sometimes. It was coming from the middle. It was coming off the edges. A lot of quick pressures where guys either had to get out of the pocket, plays that would have been sacks, but they kept it going just so you could get a quality practice rep. So defense dominated practice today. There was also, with the live tackling and physicality, you got some big hits today. There was one where it looked like Keon White was playing fullback or something, and we spoke to him about it after practice. So it's already out there. We're not breaking any news here. But it looked like he got hit. The ball popped up, and Jawan Bentley caught it for what would have been a pick six. So very violent day out here today, and obviously the Patriots defense, which has a lot of momentum over the past few practices, they were flying and making life hard on the offense.
Yeah, we talked about it early on in camp where there was kind of a lot of moving parts on defense. We didn't know about Godshaw. The Judon situation happens. Obviously, Christian Barmore is out. A lot of moving pieces in the secondary. Some guys hurt. Marcus Jones, Jabril Peppers, guys like that. But even today, on a day where it kind of all gets put together in the most physical practice of the summer, the defense looks like the best unit, bar none, on this team. And that's what we're going to kind of see moving forward, obviously, into the preseason on Thursday against the Panthers. So any quick updates, Taylor, on some defensive back injuries? Obviously, Shaun Wade comes back, not in a non-contact jersey anymore. Looks pretty good. Jabril Peppers comes out here, participates, and that
he was not a full participant. Like, you saw him in and out of drills, but he was, last practice he was here in pads but didn't do anything. Right. So that was a huge step in the right direction for him. Shaun Wade, like you mentioned, no longer in his red non-contact jersey. He's had a competitive summer. I had him off my roster projection. I had Marcellus Dial and Alex Austin on there, but I think Wade has shown, especially as one of the top slot guys with Marcus Jones out and depth being shaky there, that he's going to be somebody who really does fight for a potential spot on this team. Obviously, they're very familiar with him. He filled in admirably. I know people don't like when Shaun Wade's out there, but he wasn't a glaring weakness, obviously, with Christian Gonzalez's injury and everything. So keep an eye out for him. Also, with that safety room, Del Pettis, the undrafted rookie free agent, has stood out in the past two practices. Very physical, a lot of big hits. He's constantly around the ball. There was one play I didn't love where Hunter Henry was being tackled by one or two people, and he jumped on top of everyone. That's just rookie. Don't do that. Don't get people hurt, especially in live contact. I know you're excited.
Right. Probably one of the best players on offense.
Don't do that. Del Pettis, you did great. Cut that out. But other than that, he really has stood out. Jalen Hawkins, another guy who continues to get a ton of reps. Gerard Mayo said he's going to have a big role in this defense. I actually got to ask him today about Deron Harmon and Dean Pease, Gerard Mayo's first defensive coordinator, two guys he worked with when he was in Atlanta. He actually mentioned that Deron Harmon's one of the closest relationships that he's had in the NFL. Said they still talk. He's still picking his brain, which is very cool because he's kind of in that Deron Harmon role where he's playing a lot of the center field in those three safety packages. And Dean Pease, he said a lot of what he learned in Atlanta with Pease has carried over to New England, so that was pretty cool to see as well. But otherwise in the secondary, we saw Alex Austin and Marco Wilson kind of flipping drives where they would be opposite Christian Gonzalez, so still a battle there. And then Jonathan Jones and Alex Austin were typically the combo opposite Gonzalez, with John Jones still getting a lot of reps in the slot. Yep,
a lot to be excited about on this Patriots defense for sure. On a day where the offense struggles, it becomes a lot more clear that the defense is going to be the one running this Patriots team in 2024. We'll have you updated here every single day from Patriots training camp here on Patriots Press Pass, so make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to the channel, and check out all of our written work at clnsmedia.com.
Make sure to subscribe to Patriots Press Pass for all your Patriots news and updates on YouTube, and for all our written work, make sure you check out clnsmedia.com.